Hey, welcome to Up and Smoke All About Barbecue. I'm Becky, and right now I am getting ready to do a side-by-side comparison. So I have half a brisket that I've cut in half again, and then when it comes time to wrap these two pieces, I'm going to wrap one in butcher paper and one in foil and compare the two right next to each other. So I've already done all my trimming and everything, trimmed off all the hard white fat and cut it down as much as I could to about 1/4 of an inch depth all over. And then, like I said, I just cut this in half again so I can get two pieces here. And so I'm just going to season it all up the exact same way on both pieces. And I'm just using my favorite rub that I mix up. A little brown sugar, lots of pepper, and some salt, garlic powder, and a little celery seed. And we're just going to pat this in on all the sides, get it nice and covered on each one. And then we're going to get these out to the grill. We're going to be out at our kamado today for this one. So we'll be out there in just a second. Okay, we are ready to get these two pieces on. We're at our Vision Grills kamado today and get this all nice and smoky this way. So I'm doing it on this grill. This way I can keep them in the same amount of heat instead of doing them on my kettle grills where I usually have the charcoal method, and one would be probably more over the heat at some point than the other. So these will get even heat and we'll have an even experiment between the two. And we've also got another little experiment that we're doing, kind of experiment. I haven't used these Kingsford Professional briquettes before. They say right on the package they work great with ceramic grills, so we're going to also see how those do today. Okay, so the moment we've been waiting for is here. It has arrived. It is time to wrap our little briskets. And I'm also going to check and see how my fuel is faring. I'm going to pull out all my temperatures, thermometers, probes here. Let's see. Get all these out and take this one first, this little one, and put him right here. And get this one. I want to wrap them pretty close to the same time, partly because of the wind. Always wants to pick up right when I need to do something outside and need to do something all by myself because my cameraman is not here. So I'm all alone at the moment trying to get all this done. We're going to wrap these all up. And right now, bark on both of them looks really good. So we'll see. I'm going to wrap this guy under because of the paper. And then, like I said, I want to do a quick check on, I'm going to use my other gloves for touching charcoal. So this is going to be lots of fun. I'm going to make a big old mess on my table here. Check this out. Move, pick up my heat deflector a little bit. Check out what my charcoal is actually doing. And, whoo, hot. That was dumb. Not really. Okay, yes, it's going to be hot, but I think I do need to add a little, let's not lose that. We're gonna add a little bit more charcoal to this. Yes, my hands are gonna get all charcoaly because I do not want this running out on me. So then we'll get these bad boys back on. The one thing I have noticed about this Kingsford Professional is the temperature recovers very nicely once I've had this opened up and then close it up again. So there is that so far. So I'll get this all the way around. Then I'm gonna get my hot stone back in and my little drippy drip. I don't really need that anymore so much now that we're not really going to be dripping. And get this back on and get these back on to finish cooking and finish our experiment. Okay, so this did not go the way I was expecting it to. The paper wrapped was very interesting. So it was ready to be wrapped. It was starting to render, but it was kind of hitting that stall, sitting for a little while, because that's really what the wrap is for, to help you through the stall. And after wrapping it, it was going good for a while. And then all of a sudden, it seemed to hit a second stall, which is interesting, because other times when I've used paper wrap, I've never had that happen before. Not real sure what's going on, not real sure what we're going to get when we cut into this. So we're going to try this. We're going to bring in my favorite taster.
Yeah.
And figure this out. So this is the foil side, and it's...
They started out the same size.
They started out the same size, the same length, width. Yeah, they did this one just... So we're going to start with this one. I'm going to cut it on the side here.
Oh,
and this has good color. This is the foil. Now let's see what we got. This still is going to be a little... I think it's dry.
Looks a little drier.
But it's got some...
It's got great smoke ring.
Here, let me get you this fork and knife if you need it.
I need bigger pieces than that, though.
Well, we're just going to test.
Always have food with my salt.
When I first started smoking brisket, at first it blew my mind then when I learned that I could smoke on a kettle grill, because previously, for me, grills were grills and smokers were smokers, right? So I've always smoked on a kettle grill. That's my favorite. Love it ever since I've been doing it. But when I first started, the ones who were teaching me were all about, oh no, you don't wrap your brisket. That is the Texas crutch. You don't use the crutch. If you need to, you turn the heat up a little bit, but you don't need to wrap your brisket. So, truly, my preferred method on the kettle grill is unwrapped all the way through. That's the way I've done it, especially when I'm doing low and slow. When I decided to try hot and fast, hold on a second, I'll get to you in a minute. Favorite taster. When I decided to try hot and fast, I thought that would probably be good to wrap that for sure, because I didn't want my bark to dry out. I didn't want it to get away from me. So that's when I've used paper, and it worked great. I did use a little tallow in with it after rendering it down, after trimming it off the brisket. And since we were not doing that with the foil side, I didn't do that this time with the paper. So how is it? It looks kind of dry.
The paper wrapped brisket is drier. It has amazing flavor. So I'm not disappointed in that at all.
Which is interesting.
The foil wrapped brisket, oh my gosh! What a difference. I mean, they're both good, don't get me wrong.
This is a big piece. I'm going to cut a little more off.
Foil wrapped brisket is a lot tenderer. More tender? Is that the word?
More tender, yeah. Tenderer. Oh, okay.
Wow, 9-day difference.
So yeah, because the foil, you definitely have more juice that stays right there, and it sits in the juice, and so the bottom of it does get the bark. Well, actually on this one, let me see if I cut this, if I'm looking at the right side of the bark. It actually stayed somewhat barky, even in the, sitting in the juice on this foil.
Yeah. This is still good enough that I'm eating a second piece of the paper wrapped.
The paper?
Yeah.
Which is weird. Like I said, when I did the hot and fast in the paper, it was nice and moist, came out great. And the foil, so for me, I think, well, first, again, my preference, if I'm cooking low and slow on the kettle grill, I'm just gonna do it unwrapped the whole way through. You get, your bark does get a little more crusty if you don't keep an eye on it and kind of spritz it every now and then. But especially with the kettle grill, you get even more wood smoke flavor because you're running with charcoal and wood, so you don't have as much wood as, say, a stick burner. What are we doing here?
I need more.
Oh, you were about to pull it out from under the knife there. So,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your thought process.
You did interrupt where I was going with that. You totally threw me off.
Oh,
so
boy.
yeah, the foil one looks really good.
The foil one looks fantastic. There's a huge difference, actually. But, you know, what are some of y'all's experiences? You know, comment down below what your successes or failures have been with either method or no wrap at all.
We've heard from both sides. Some people swear by foil, some swear by paper. That's the only way. Like I said, when I was first learning, it was, oh no, and now that everybody is on the interwebs and has their opinions about it, it seems like wrapping has lost some of that stigma, if you will. I don't know if it was a stigma or just kind of a, oh, please don't do that kind of thing, you know, like, oh, if you're a real smoker, you don't wrap.
Yeah. Well,
so I especially like the foil where it keeps the juice kind of in the bottom. If I'm gonna do a big brisket and I just want a couple of nights worth, like for the two of us, and I want some that I can freeze, because then I will put it in the fridge overnight and let all those juices kind of gel, because it's basically the collagen and stuff in the brisket that's coming out of there. That's all the juices really are, and some of the fat. And so it turns into that nice white fat and some of the gel for the au jus, the juice. And I'll save that in with the slices that I'm going to freeze, because then I'll vacuum seal it and freeze it, and then I've got some more moisture in there, because you don't want to lose moisture to the freezer, which you will. You'll get that freeze drying effect kind of. But then with paper, I think when it works well, which obviously it didn't work great this time, although it has a nice smoke ring.
got a great smoke ring.
Which is interesting. I haven't even tried it yet. But it does have a nice
Turn it around for the camera. Turn that one around for the camera too.
And see this one. The smoke ring is actually thicker on the one with the paper, which is interesting.
Interestingly.
Because they cooked, when they were unwrapped, they cooked about the same. They were ready to wrap at about the same time. But the foil was completely done and ready to be pulled before the paper was.
I think maybe, potentially, the next time if we ever do this comparison again, when you think that the paper wrapped brisket is not probe tender, it still needs to come off. Maybe that is the reason why it's a little bit drier.
Usually it needs to be probe tender because not all the fat.
No. So,
well, it's not bad.
It's still great. It's better than what you're going to get in most restaurants.
It looks super dry.
Yeah, it kind of has
but it actually doesn't taste as dry as it looks.
It has the visual appearance of being more dry than it is. So I would not be disappointed with either one. But in a head-to-head comparison from our cook today, bam! The foil's the winner, hands down.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. Because like I said, when I did the hot and fast, check out my hot and fast brisket video. I wrapped it in paper, and it went just
amazing.
fine. I went straight through. No backing up. Like I said, it started to hit another stall after I wrapped it, and it went up about 10 to 15 degrees after wrapping, and then it just kind of stopped again and hung out for a while. Very interesting.
Yeah.
So I think the next thing I want to try is a hot and fast without wrapping it, and see how that goes. Since go back to my roots. Yes. My brisket roots are don't wrap.
More brisket in my future.
More brisket, yeah. So yeah, that's my real preference, if you must know, especially as of now doing low and slow. Unwrapped, actually.
Yeah.
And then when it's ready, I pull it off, and that's when I put it in some foil after I give it a few minutes to let some of the heat kind of vent off. And I'll sometimes baste it with a little bit of the juices just to add some of that in there. Like I said, if I'm going to plan on freezing it, I like having some of that juice there.
Yes, for
to
sure.
add to the package.
And that's another video, is doing the
vacuum sealer.
So look for that.
That's one of my favorite kitchen appliances after my coffee maker.
Yes. All right.
So
is that a wrap?
Yeah, that's it. I guess it was a weird little experiment. It turned out weird with paper. So we'll do another brisket and do it unwrapped, and that'll be coming up soon.
Yes.
So thank you so much for watching. Give us a like and a subscribe, and we will see you next time.